Spoiler alert. The film begins late one night in a convenience store, where Nick, Aaron Eckhart, a small-time drug dealer, is attempting to choose which brand of coffee to purchase. His fellow hitman Billy Hill, James Lee Gros and ex-lover Dallas, Paulina Porizkova, are growing irritated and tell him to move quickly. The chocolate macadamia Nick finally decided on is empty from the dispenser. He takes issue with the cashier. Nick meets his former partner from his time as a drug dealer in Los Angeles, Casey Wells, Thomas Jane, at his door the following morning. Casey's life has been purified. Currently married, he works as an architect and hopes to adopt a child with his spouse. Nick leaves Casey's guest room with a few suitcases before heading out to run some errands. Casey starts to have doubts about one of the suitcases after Nick leaves, and when he finally opens it, she discovers that it is packed with heroin. He throws everything in the kitchen sink after calling Nick to scold him for bringing drugs into his house. A Jamaican Rasta hitman named Glenn Plummer breaks into Casey's home with the intention of killing him, but Casey convinces him to take one last puff of marijuana. Ice is going to murder Casey after smoking when his phone rings. As Ice starts rapping on the phone in an attempt to get a record deal, Casey grabs hold of the opportunity and takes him out. After that, Casey restrains him and abandons him in his garage. An adoption agency representative visits Casey to question him about becoming a father. Since there is no record of Casey's time in Los Angeles, the representative is especially interested in learning what he did during the several years he lived there. Casey makes every effort to hide his history and his most recent run-in with the hitman. Dallas appears during the interview, claiming to be in possession of the money and heroin that she believes Nick left with Casey. Telling the adoption agency representative about Casey's history of drug dealing and murder, she manages to scare him away. Dallas questions Casey about the whereabouts of the money when they are alone. She plans to murder him because she is furious that he is unable to assist her. Before anything else though, she ties him to a chair, makes him feel erotic, undresses, and then mounts and rapes him. She informs him that she intends to continue until she causes him to experience an orgasm, and that she won't kill him until he does. Fulfilling her promise, she experiences several orgasms, but receives no response from him. Hill bursts in and shoots Dallas as she's having her third orgasm, splattering her blood all over Casey's walls and floor. When Casey tells Billy he doesn't have the heroin, Billy believes him, but he still intends to torture him with a saw and a blowtorch. As he works, Billy boasts about his skill in cauterization technique. Ironically, police are interrupting Hill to raid the house next door. Casey manages to unfasten the tape around his wrists as Billy checks on it, takes a frying pan, and settles back into his chair. Billy comes back telling Casey the police were at the wrong house. He realizes there is a problem as he is about to move forward. Billy is taken by surprise when Casey overwhelms him and abandons him in the garage. Nick uses a payphone to call Casey, apologizes for everything, and acknowledges that he stole money and heroin from the police. It becomes clear to us after he hangs up that Nick has been shot, is heavily bleeding, and appears to be close to passing away. Eventually, Nick's head is found in a bag carried by a dishonest police officer, Rourke. He tells Casey he doesn't care about the heroin, but gives him until 7 p.m. to find the money. After witnessing Dallas dead and Ice and Billy tied up in the garage, the policeman unloads a magazine into Ice and Billy. It's garbage day, he tells Casey, so throw them out. Ultimately, Casey phones Ice's boss and informs him that the heroin will be put up for auction at his residence at 7 p.m. He remembers what Nick said earlier, and that's when he finds the money in his car's spare tire along with a wedding gift. In an apparent attempt to flee the country, he takes them, places them in Dallas' Lamborghini Diablo, and then heads to the airport to pick up his wife. The film closes with the police and the armed Jamaicans getting ready to meet at the house.